Well, we continue with honoring our teachers on this World Teachers Day, which is taking place today, the 5th of October. Now, the teacher we need to honor next is Naumaan Panchbhaya, Bachelor of Education from Wits University, educator at the Eldorado Park Primary School, 702's Teacher of the Year, and a lead teacher for Natural Sciences in the senior phase in the Johannesburg Central District. Also, chairperson of the Johannesburg Central District's PLC team. Brother Noman, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you, Brother Inayat, as well as to the esteemed listeners of Salam Media.
Just wonderful that we are able to pay tribute to you, to honor you on this wonderful day, on the World Teachers Day. And Alhamdulillah, in your young life, you've achieved so much, mashallah. And, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala obviously is great, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has honored you as a teacher, as someone who is making a difference in the lives of many, to the extent that, Alhamdulillah, you've also been voted the 702's Teacher of the Year.
Gee, Alhamdulillah, and all praise goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. Of course, in a very short space of time, being or honored in that manner has just been a means of motivation for me. And of course, it's doing it or getting that type of motivation, getting that honor. At that moment, I think what I would say that's like an extra, it's a bonus. But what we do it for is to make a change in those learners' lives. Alhamdulillah, I was honored enough also to be awarded at the provincial awards, the provincial national teachers awards just last week. So all of that is a bonus, but alhamdulillah, whatever it is, we take it as it comes. But our main focus and objective is to make an impact in our learners' lives.
Well, clearly, and as we spoke to Mohammed Amin Touch by someone with that 49 years of experience in teaching. Now, obviously, you've started off, you've got a few behind you, Alhamdulillah. But just take us through this calling, teaching as a profession, because many young people are somewhat in a dilemma in terms of a career. But I've heard this often, that teaching is still a very, very attractive career.
It is definitely, and it's based on what your intention is at the same time. So, if you want to come in for the money, then definitely that's not the profession to go into, because I don't know of a teacher who's a billionaire or a millionaire. So it's what type of impact that you want to have at the same time. It's a wonderful, wonderful profession to get into. You have to be a people's person. From the onset, your intention, your niyyah should be that you really want to make an impact. You want to change a generation, because remember, it's one child that you can have a positive impact on, and from there onwards you're going to really have a generation that's going to be going onto the straight path, because understanding the type of communities that we're working in, the communities that we're living in, the world that is changing, they require role models, they require individuals that's going to have an impact on those learners' lives. And remember, if we're not going to have positive role models in the lives of these learners that are going through the schooling phase, then we're going to be losing a generation. And when we've lost a generation, we've lost an entire ummah, we've lost a future for our country, or for example for the world. So it's something that we need to take into the stride. And maybe if someone would say, no, what, teaching is a profession whereby you might become gray before your time. It's not about that. It's about how you get into the class, what type of an impact you have on the learners, and at the same time, what type of intention, like how I said in the onset, what type of intention you go in with, because that's going to be your final product.
Well, Noman, teachers may not have been millionaires and billionaires, but I'm sure over a period of time they've turned many people into millionaires and billionaires, and that is evident from what we see around us. But also at the same time, you're talking about teaching, and it is about knowledge, it is about acquiring knowledge, it is about imparting knowledge. And we know from an Islamic point of view, we are encouraged to seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. But also Islam lays great stress on the imparting of knowledge and beneficial knowledge, Noman.
Gee, definitely. I mean, and I'm glad that Mr. Inayat touched on that part, whereby you're saying that we need to, seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. And remember, no type of knowledge that you attain is going to be not beneficial to you. So throughout your journey of life, you learn things. Remember, general knowledge is something that you can get out of school as well. But academically, we need to learn on something that whereby we need to understand what is right from wrong. And we need to appreciate our teachers in that method, because every individual can only be at his place where he is in today's time because of his teacher. He can't say, no, I didn't need a teacher, or teacher didn't have an impact on my life. There's something that you learn from your teacher that might be helping you latently, or something that's out there, and you seeing that, that is something that is being used by me, that was taught to me by my teacher. So it's important, like how we said that in Islam, it's mentioned for us to continuously be learning, and it's something that we learn on a daily basis. A learner can learn, of course, from a teacher, or a teacher can also learn from a student, or from a child in the class. And every day there's something that we're learning, because as we know, that we're not someone, or we are not people that know everything. So it's important, because we don't know when, what type of knowledge will assist us, maybe today or in the near future, or at the same time, if it's some type of knowledge that we have, how we can use it to impart and help someone else that might be going through a certain type of condition or need some type of help.
Yes. Now, obviously, you being in the Eldorado Park Primary School, and we know that there are challenges within our education system, within the schooling system. We've seen so many changes in our education system over a period of time. And for someone like yourself to keep abreast of these changes, so that you can adapt, so you can adopt certain methods, you can adopt certain strategies from a teaching perspective, and also just looking at general, looking at the child today, a very, very different child from the time when we were growing up, in terms of attitude, in terms of behavior, in terms of academic preparedness. So, teachers actually have to contend with a lot, apart from just, doing your job as a teacher, but you need to be aware of many other things playing out around you.
Definitely. I mean, the type of area that I'm working in, Eldorado Park, many people would be quite aware of the type of community that is. I mean, it's an area whereby there's gangsterism, there's violence, there's drug abuse. Learners are coming home on a daily basis to domestic violence. They're coming to school after having seen the parents have it out at home. So remember, we're coming from an area, I might be working in an area whereby there's constant negative influences around them. And before you can even actually teach them content, what's most important, for example, in an area that I'm in, you have to win the learners over. You have to win their hearts. You have to be there for them, whereby the learner understands that, what, there's someone there for me, there's someone that I can rely on, someone that I can depend on, there's a safe place for me to be in. Now when the learner comes to school, when the learner comes to class, the child now feels safe, the child feels more comfortable, and then the child will be more receptive. But if a learner comes to school and you're also giving that same type of a negative attitude towards the learner, where does that learner go to? Where does the child go to? Because remember, in today's time, we have so many learners, at least over 50% of the learners whose parents are young parents, and that is a changing trend that we're seeing on a daily basis. And most of the parents that we would see in our area might be dropouts from school. So they might have gone to grade 8 or grade 9, and thereafter now they dropped out. And of course, they went onto the wrong path. They might have just been 18 or 19, and already their child is starting grade 1. So they themselves are individuals that can't help their children. And now the child is coming to school for help. If we're not there for them, then we're fighting a losing battle.
Well, definitely. Now, personally, for you, Noman, what keeps you motivated, and what keeps you still passionate about teaching?
To be honest, it's the positive motivation that we get at the end. The learners appreciate you on a daily message. On a daily basis, you get a message from a learner. You get a small letter maybe from a learner to say thank you for what you've done for me. You get a parent giving you some type of positive feedback, the impact that you're having. A learner coming home and speaking about you, speaking good about you, the learner implementing something that you might have taught them. Because for me, of course, the focus might be on academics, teaching them content and curriculum. But at the same time, I tell them that it's important to understand that even your day-to-day general knowledge, your day-to-day characteristics, your character, the way you conduct yourself, that's important, because that's going to help you once you leave school. So just the basics of, for example, keeping the classroom clean. If I give you homework, completing the homework, that is teaching you responsibility, that is teaching you cleanliness. And even if a child doesn't make it to matric, hopefully all of them do, but knowing the circumstances that the learners are in, if they attain that, just the basics of staying clean or being responsible, when they get into a working world, they're going to be responsible enough and not telling their bosses that I forgot or I didn't know what to do, because I've upskilled them and motivated them. So it's all the positives that we get back at the same time. And then knowing, for example, if a learner finished matric, coming back with a certificate and saying, sir, because of you, I've attained this, or because of the motivation. So inshallah, through all of this effort that we're putting in, maybe on a daily basis, I might be seeing 400 learners. But from that 400, even if one learner makes it, then that's a win for us.
Exactly. In fact, I'm just looking at a message come through from Roshan Anbar saying that the best amongst you is learn and teach others, and quoting the hadith as well. So, alhamdulillah, it is a noble profession in more ways than one is. Even our earlier guest, Muhammad Amin Tajbai, has mentioned, and he says, obviously, it is a calling, but also it comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is, I'm sure in years to come, inshallah, when you get to Mr. Muhammad Amin Tajbai, you will sit back, you will look at the thousands and thousands of lives that you have touched. Because, as I mentioned to him, today you are dealing with primary school learners, but in time to come, these children will grow up. They will become something in life. They will impact on their children. And this is perpetual. And this is the reason why this is such a noble profession, in a sense that how it touches lives perpetually in a positive way, Noman.
Yeah, definitely. And we regard it as Thawabe Jariya, it's continuous reward. Any positive impact that you had and that child carries it out, that child will pass it on to their children and to the generation. Then it's like saving up in the bank account. So even if it's not monetary value, but definitely, inshallah, our akhirat will be made if one child's life is made, inshallah.
Well, a billionaire where it matters most, not in rands and cents, but yeah, where it matters most in the akhirah. Just final thoughts from you, Noman, before we take leave.
Yeah, definitely. And Jazakallah so much for having us and for setting out a day whereby you have World Teachers Day being commemorated. But to those teachers that are out there listening in, I mean, sometimes you feel like it's the end of the world. You feel like this profession is not for you, because on one day you'll find that the children are like angels, the next day they're the total opposite. Just keep pushing. Understand what type of backgrounds the learners come from. Just try and speak to them, on a one-to-one basis. Try and understand what it is that's making them act out in that manner. You will see that the same individuals, the same learners that are maybe acting out in another class will be more behaved in your class, because they'll know there's someone there for them. And the learners that are listening out at this moment, take this opportunity and pick up that phone, message the teacher, phone the teacher, and tell them what type of positive impact they've had in your life. If you're going to show that appreciation, remember, the more grateful you are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bestow you with even more. So just by taking that extra step, go out, appreciate the teacher, not only today, okay, understanding today's World Teachers Day, but every other day after when the school day ends. Thank the teacher for what they've imparted to you. Through that, you'll see that there will be a better relationship between you and the teacher, and at the same time, it will teach you gratitude as well.
Well, we know the dua, Allah maghfirli wali walidayya wali ustazi. So after your parents come the teachers. Now that tells us the important role, and this is the dua that I'm sure many people make on a daily basis. So the teachers are actually included in the duas as well. And our duas are with you, Naumaan Panchbhaya. Jazakallah khairan so much. Allah Ta'ala grant you the ability to continue the wonderful work, and alhamdulillah, all the accolades that you've received until now, Teacher of the Year as well. Inshallah, Allah take you from strength to strength, inshallah, for making a difference, a positive difference in the lives of children and humanity at large, inshallah.
I mean, Jazakallah so much for having me, as well as to the Salam Media team. Jazakallah so much once again.
Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Naumaan Panchbhaya joining us this morning on World Teachers Day. And with that, I'm going to be signing off. It's been once again an absolute pleasure being in your company. From myself and the team at Salam Media, I'm signing off. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.